Hi, this is Quinlan, and today I'm visiting Mount Tateyama, one of the 3 sacred mountains of Japan. Or maybe I should say one of the 3 most sacred mountains of Japan, because most of them, if not all of them, actually are sacred and the dwelling places of gods and divine Buddhist beings. Today I'm doing a ridge walk, so come with me and see what some of this mountain looks like. So I'm gonna hike up there, go up to the main summits, take the entire ridge walk and come back down there and head back over here. A lot of people just come up here using the ropeway and the bus and walk around this area near the main lodge. Today appears to be the helicopter day, and it's moving all sorts of supplies to the various lodges around here. As you can see, there are a lot of hikers on this route. This is, after all, one of the most popular mountains with excellent access. Still, this isn't like Mount Fuji level crowded. And there's the stream of people heading up to the summit. There's this lodge, the Ichinokoshi Sanso, and as you can see here, wow, even in English partially, you can get various types of curry. But I did bring a sandwich, so I'm going straight up there. From the Ichinokoshi Lodge right there, which isn't so far from where you start at the Murodo bus terminal, it then finally becomes a normal hiking trail, you might say, no longer paved. On these popular mountains, it's not rare to get little traffic jams like this, where you kind of gotta wait for the people ahead of you a little bit. Come almost all the way up. It's mostly the same rocky terrain, fairly crowded, but the higher you get, it's not too bad. I've outpaced the bulk of the crowd. Just can't get used to this view behind me. I mean, look at this. And here it is, Oyama, the primary summit of Mount Tateyama. I'll see you in a minute at the top. To reach the actual summit of Tateyama, this Oyama summit, looks like you have to pay 700 yen. It just means I've got to dig out my wallet. It's somewhere hidden deep in my pack. For your 700 yen, you get a ticket, a little charm. This is the final ascent to the summit. They limit the amount of people coming up here, so it's basically a single file line going up. 3,003 meters. When you come to the main summit, they perform a ritual for you. There are 3 main summits to what is called Mount Tateyama, and none of them are actually Mount Tateyama, strangely enough. That's just the whole name for the entire area. Kind of like you say Hakoda, even though there isn't a Mount Hakoda, or Akita Komagatake. And this is Oyama, which is considered the main summit, the most sacred place, one of these 3 sacred mountains in Japan. When you get to a little bit quieter spot that's not so packed with people, I want to take a minute and tell you the story of how this mountain first became known as a sacred place 1,300 years ago. I'm not, however, going to that glorious mountain in the background, though. That is Tsurugi. Not going there. Another one of the summits, and this one, like the other, appears somewhat crowded. At 3,015 meters, this is the highest point in this area, though it's not the main summit being Oyama. Nanji-san is rather the highest, but slightly more minor summit. So, started out way down by that Murodo Lodge, and now walking the ridgeline we were looking at before. This is the way to the third summit today. This one is the steepest of all of them. I'm not even sure which the right way is. Is it this way? There's no spray paint, but I think this is the correct way up. どうも。これが合ってる登山道。なんか印がなくて。ないです、ないです、ここは。ここはないんですね。はい、すみません。はい、じゃあこの辺で。Ooh, bit steep right down there. This is the summit right here. Kind of wish they would have piled the rock a little higher so it was at 3,000 meters. Oh well. Pretty good view. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Not bad. Not bad. I'm just totally spoiled by this ridge walk. I mean, look, came down there, across there. Man, this whole mountain range is a view the whole time, and still going. And now, time to go back up towards still yet another summit today. This one called Bessan. This last bit is pretty steep, but won't take long to reach the top. And this is the summit called Bessan, unfortunately. Other mountain. I wish it had a more special name than that. Mount Tsurugi looks pretty epic from this angle. I'll come back and hike that another day. Mount Tateyama is said to be sacred since about 1,300 years ago. In the year 701, Arifusa, the son of a local governor in this area, went falconing. In fact, he snuck out and took his father's prized white falcon and went falconing into the mountains. There, instead of flying after the prey that he ordered it to, the falcon flew straight up into the air, high towards the mountains. And so he gave chase, going farther and farther. Soon, he saw a large bear, and the falcon was perched near it. He immediately pulled out his bow and shot the bear. The bear fled, and he then chased the bear and his falcon as they both went further up into the mountains in the same area, until finally he came upon the entrance to a cave. He quietly crept inside, and there he saw the bear and the falcon, but they transformed before his eyes into the Buddha Amitabha, the Buddha of infinite light, and the bear into Fudo Myo-o, Achala, a wrathful, divine being of compassion. He fell upon his knees with regret for having shot Fudo Myo with his arrow. He pulled out his sword, planning to commit seppuku, to disembowel himself with his sword. But the Buddha spoke to him and told him, "Thank you for coming. We were waiting for you here. Now you must open this mountain to others and lead others in the worship of the divinities on this mountain here." And so Arifusa, the noble son of a local governor, shaved his head and became a monk. He changed his name to Jiko and established the practice of worship here. These mountains are now considered to be sacred, both to Shinto and Buddhist faiths. Since I've come today to Mount Tateyama, that completes my circuit of the 3 sacred mountains of Japan. Of course, I'm a guide on Mount Fuji, and I've been visiting that quite frequently over the last 2 years. And just a few weeks ago, I actually visited Mount Haku, the other most sacred mountain of Japan. Of these 3 sacred mountains, I have to say that Mount Tateyama is the most easily accessible. You can take a sort of cable car, steep train like you see at Mount Koya, up to a bus terminal. And from the bus terminal, you take an hour bus, which takes you pretty much up to this glorious plateau. And from there, you can walk around rather casually. You could do what I did today, which is that full ridge walk, or you could just go up and tag the top summit, or not tag any summits at all, but just enjoy the beautiful lake and the hell area. For many years, this mountain was actually forbidden to many people and was only permitted by certain pilgrims. Of course, now you'll see lots of normal hikers coming to enjoy the beautiful views, even if they're not believers in the mountain faith. I really recommend that you come and visit Mount Tateyama. This is a really easy for all fitness levels, and the views, as I'm sure you'll see from this video, just can't be beat. Well, it's time for me to start heading back down. I've got a bus to catch and then a long, long drive back to North Japan. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the trails.